Ladles and jelly spoons, welcome back to Badgerworks. Today, this. This is one of the controllers from my son's Oculus Rift 2 VR setup, and it's not working properly. So today we are hopefully going to fix it. So let's get on with it. So yes, this is the controller. As I say, it's not an Oculus. It's a, what is it, Meta Quest 2. So this is one of the controllers that you use, and the problem is with it is the joystick's gone up the chute. It's apparently known as stick drift, and basically the problem is at the moment when you plug this in or connect it, it thinks it's doing that all the time, that the stick is down to the right constantly, which it obviously isn't. So what I've done, because you can buy replacements of these, or you can get replacements, but they're sort of 65, 70 pound each, and they're remanufactured ones, which I'm not overly keen on. So what I did was I bought this. Now this is a repair kit for these things, and basically what it's got in it are various bits and pieces in order to repair the thing. So there are some tools here, various bits and pieces. So there's some new covers for the joystick in various colours. Apparently he wants black, he doesn't like the other colours, so that's fine. There is this tool which is for pulling the thing apart. Nice pair of tweezers, never have too many pairs of tweezers, so that's useful. And then also we have these, well, not screwdrivers. I mean, they are screwdrivers, but there's a right-angled one and this one, and they are basically Torx 5. So they're, I don't know if you can actually see that or not, but they're kind of like the little star-shaped ones, but they're called Torx. And then also in this box we have, I can get them out, 2 of these of the actual joystick switches, which I'm now struggling to get out of the bag. So this is a replacement joystick, so it's just that bit. So this is what we're actually going to change out. So let's tidy up a little bit, because we only want one of them so far. Right, so the first thing we want to do is pop the battery cover off. And remove the battery, which actually is kind of awkward on these because it's got a big spring-loaded plunger in the end of it. But anyway, that's beside the point. Now, there's a screw in there which we're going to take out. So the first screw is that one in there. So we'll just pop that one out. And the next thing we need to do, which is very tricky of them, is you need to take this sticker out here. So we'll get that off. This is really, really well stuck down. It's a vinyl sticker and it is incredibly well stuck down. So, but just keep at it and it will come off eventually. I dare say one of the reasons it's made so strong is to, I don't know if it's to discourage you from taking it off, or whether it's so that when they, that's it, refurbish these at the factory, they can reuse the sticker, although this has actually ripped, but never mind. Right. We'll put that to one side, and what I'm going to do is take this little piece of card and just like that, just to keep it flat. So now we have 2 screws there and another screw there, so we'll take all these out, because these hold the bottom of the clamshell together. like that. Now for the fun bit, because what we need to do now is get this off, this black disc. Now again, this is where this tool that they give you comes in very handy. So if you just take the flat end and just work it in, and this black bit is actually glued on. So there's this like black gunk that glues it on. There is also on each side, it's actually like pressed into a little like pop stud thing. I'll show you once I get it off. So it can be a bit tricky. Don't force it because you'll break it. Just take your time and work your way around the edge. Oh, and it will come off. It's a bit fraught with peril at times because you feel like you're going to break it, but it's just where the adhesive is stuck down. There it goes. But if you look on the underside here, you've got 1, 2, 3 of these like pins, and those are doing most of the heavy lifting, holding this down. And then it's got this black mastic stuff that helps keep it stuck down. So that's that off. Now there are a number of screws in the top here, and you just basically want to take all of them out. Now the majority of them, and this is why I've not been too precious about laying out the screws in any particular order as I've been taking them out, it's because most of them are the same length. You can see these ones here, they're all the same length. Some of them are a little bit awkward to get to because of the this ring, but just be careful and try not to strip the heads on the screws, because you'll hate yourself if you do. This one here is particularly awkward to get to, but you can, if you're careful, you can get to it from this angle, but just go easy with it. Now, oh, there's another one there. Now we were left with 4 screws here. This one, this black one, and then these 2 silver ones at the top here. Now this one you need to pay attention to, because this one, and you'll see as I take it out, is way longer than the others. Oh, come here. You can see that one is a lot longer. Now we've also got, like I say, this black one over here, which is also longer than the others. I'm not quite sure why this one is black when the rest are silver, but you know, it is what it is. But again, you can see that one is significantly longer than the others. And now these 2 here hold this diffusing ring or cover or whatever it is. So we'll pop these out. And again, these are a little bit tricky, but just go careful with them. And these ones are a lot shorter. So just remember where they go. What you can do, I find it's quite helpful a lot of the time when you're doing stuff like this, is take a photo of it first, and even to the point of laying these screws out in the order they go in. But just go careful with it. Whatever system works for you. All right, that's that one out. Oh, now we want to take this cover off. And the way we do that is there's a little like button there. If you just push that, you can pop the front of this off, which is sometimes easier said than done. So let's get our tool in there, and that lifts, that literally just pops off. Now again, you need to be careful because there is some adhesive at the back here, so as you're taking that off, just go careful that you don't break it. And again, at the front here there are a couple of these pins that hold it in place, so just be careful when you're taking it off that you don't snap those off. It does require a little bit of brute force and ignorance, but just go careful with it. It sort of goes with a sudden bang and you just feel like you've broken it, but there it goes. There it is. Pop that to one side. Right, now we can take this clamshell off, and this is this is the fun bit. So basically what you need to do is push this side up, pull this side down, and also pull it apart at the same time. So it's a bit tricky, but we'll see if we can get it. It's one of those things, once you've done it a couple of times, it's easy, but you never, you know, when are you going to do this a couple of times? Right, let's get that started. Oh, come on. There it goes. So as I say, pull it out and down and it should come off. Now, we are starting to get somewhere. For my next trick, we need to get this off. And again, there is a degree of brute force and ignorance here, but just go careful with it and it will come off. So you've got to kind of twist and pull. Now don't just yank it off, stop laughing at the back, because inside there, and hopefully you can see that, in here there is a ribbon connector. So what we need to do is very carefully open this up so we can get the ribbon out. That is really dark in there. So I'll just pop this open and then I'll show you how it works once we get it apart. Right, we can put that to one side. So what you've got here is this little black strip here. When that's folded down like that, that is what holds the ribbon in place. So what you need to do is get very carefully under the edge of it and just flip it up, and that allows the ribbon cable to come out. Whew. Right, now that's the real fun bit. Now we can get ready to take this joystick off. We can just, this just pulls off. Now you've got to be careful when you pull it off though, because there is a spring underneath it, you see. And if you just pull it, it will yank the spring and break it. So what you need to do, and I'm trying to do this so the camera can see it, is just take the tweezers and just pop that off like that, you see. And we can put that to one side as well. Now, what we need to do now is firstly remove this ribbon connector right here. So it's the same thing. You see there's a little catch there. Just flip that up, and then you can very, very carefully take your tweezers and pop out the ribbon connector, you see. And now we need to get these screws out. So there's one screw here. These are the screws that hold the motherboard in place. Now there is also one under here, under the trigger, which is an absolute nuisance. So just, you're going in at a funny angle, it's not ideal, but just be very careful, keep pressure on it as you turn it so that it doesn't spin and rip the end out of the screw. Like that. And now, in theory, this should come out, but what you may need to do, because there are two little tabs under here, you may have to loosen this other screw or take it out. So that you can very gently, oh, there's one up there as well. I knew there was another one somewhere. Let's get that one out as well. And then, like I say, very gently lift the motherboard just enough so that you can get this out. Just so you can get those tabs out from underneath, you see. Now, we carefully put this to one side for a minute. So there is our joystick switch. Let's get this light out of the way for a minute. Now we need the spring, but what you need to do is note the orientation of the spring, okay, because it goes on a certain way. So the flat side here goes away on the opposite side to the ribbon cable, okay? So remember that. So we'll take this off like that, put that to one side, get our new joystick in, just give that a quick wiggle, make sure it's all right, which it is, and then we put this back on. So again, remembering that the flat side goes away from the ribbon cable. Now for the fun bit, getting this back in again. Oh dear, why am I doing this? Okay, so this is one of these jobs we need like 12 hands. What you'd want to try and avoid doing is turning this up the other way while you've got the motherboard on, because otherwise the buttons can fall out. And then you have to fiddle around getting them back in, which is a nuisance. So let's lift this up a little bit higher, so that we can get these tabs under the motherboard like that, and then try and finagle this all back into place. far off there. Let's put one of the screws back in, or at least get it started to hold everything in place. Alright, that's got that started. Make sure the others are lined up, which they are. Now we want to put one in there. Get that started. Like that. Get that one in under there. And get that started. And then get the last one in here. And now we do opposites. So we do this one. Well, it doesn't matter as long as you go opposite. So you're pulling the board down square. So we'll do that one. Then the opposing corner. And we do this one. And then we do the opposing corner. Like that. You don't need to over tighten these screws. You just need to nip them up. Okay, so now we've got to put the ribbon back in. So we take the ribbon and we try very hard to get that in there like that. And then we flip that down. And there we go. Now, before you do anything else, just make sure that the buttons all still operate and that the joystick has range of movement like that. So you haven't pinned anything or pinched anything or anything like that. So that's that. Now we get the fun bit, because we now got to get all this back together again. Okay, so what we need to do, this is hilarious, is we got to try and get this back together and get the ribbon cable back in. And this is something that I have never been able to do without a great deal of gnashing and wailing of teeth. But we shall do, as ever, what we can. Because the first thing we've always got to do is get that switch back in there, which is somewhere where it really does not want to go. Like that. Now, this is the tricky bit. Because what we need to do is get this all lined up and then get the ribbon cable back in. So we want to kind of get it about there. And I need to find my glasses again. Oh. And I'm going to try and do this in front of the camera, but I really don't know if this is going to work or not. Because I can't really see what I'm doing, and I'm sure you can't see a thing. Oh, I'll have to try and do this off the camera, sorry. Right, that was a lot easier to do with it right in front of me. I've got to try and get this over here and not pull on this too much because it's like a bowstring at the moment. Right, you get in there. So, I think we're getting somewhere. Let's try and get this side back into place. Oh. Again, little twist. It should go back into place. Okay, right, now we need to get this side back on. Like that. Oh, come on, get in there. There we go. Right, that still works. That still works. Okay, so now we can put these screws back into the handle to try and hold it all together, or not try to actually hold it all together while we get the rest of it. This one. I'm sure some of you probably think it's a bit excessive to show every single step of this, but it's more just a question of trying to show you as much detail as possible. Because I say, if you've never done this before, it can be quite daunting with all of the screws and clips and bits and bobs and everything else. It's kind of awkward. Right, so that's that. Again, just a quick check of all the buttons and everything, make sure everything's still fine, which it is. So now we want to put the screws, all the screws back in here. So what we'll do is we'll start with this long one, which goes in this hole here. And we'll just nip that up. Again, don't do them all up tight yet. Just get it in and almost all the way. Then this black one, which goes in here. And that will basically just stop it all coming apart. Now we can put this cover back on. Like that. And like that. That was easy. And then we take these two small screws and we put those in there. Just hold that on. Nip that up. And that one goes in there. And we can nip that up. And there we go. Now we can put all the other screws in. So the first one I'm going to put in is this awkward one down here. And then we come over from the back here. This is really awkward to do in front of the camera. Like so many things in life, very awkward to do in front of a camera. Right, that's got that started. And we've got one in here. And one in here. I don't quite know why this has got so many screws on it, but I'm sure they're all here for a reason. One in there. One in there. And one in, was it there? No, it wasn't there, was it? Oh, twit, it's in there, isn't it? Goes in the handle, there we go. Right, there we go, that's more like it. Okay, so now we can make sure these are all tightened up. So let me just knit all these up. And again, we go side to side as much as possible. This one. There we go. Now we can put this faceplate back on. Like that. Make sure again that you check all the buttons and everything still work. And then we can also put this back on. Now the thing is, I don't know how, because I was going to change that, but no, I don't think it actually needs it. I'll leave it. If my son wants to change it, he can. But we'll just pop that back on there. I just realised I should have put that on before I put the cover on. How many of you were watching going, you should have put that on first? You're absolutely right, I should have done. Still, it's fine. These things are sent to try us. There we go. Right, we'll try that again, shall we? We'll just pop that on. Like that. There we go. Right, now we put the cover on. Oh dear, I'm having such fun here. There we go. Like that. Now, let's get our sticker back. I don't actually know if this will go back in, but we'll give it a go. That lined up with that edge, and then just push that back in like that. There we go. Right, now we can pop the battery back in, pop the battery cover back on, and hopefully this will work. So I will go and give this to my son and he can give it a bash and see what happens. And here is our finished article. although obviously not the actual controller, because that would be a bit dull to look at. But what I've done is asked my son to record a clip from one of the games he plays, so that you can kind of see this controller in action. So yes, I'm quite pleased with how this came out. Obviously he's very pleased because he's got his controller back. It saved us a considerable amount of money, and it wasn't a particularly difficult job. So yeah, hopefully you've all enjoyed this little foray into electronics. As ever, I'd like to thank my top tier patrons, Howard, Amy and Hawaii Clive-O, for their continued support, and all of my other patrons and channel members and all you lovely people at home. It's all very much appreciated. So yes, hopefully you've learned something today, and I will see you on the next video. Thanks very much for watching. Cheers. Bye.